Nigeria, and good morning, Africa. Welcome to DDM Morning Show, your daily dose of news, insight, and conversation that matters. Today is Thursday, the 25th of September 2025. And as always, we are live right here, 9 a.m. Nigerian time, bringing you the stories that shape our world, our continent, and our everyday life. Today we begin with the floods in Lagos. Heavy rains have once again left the upscale neighborhoods of Lekki submerged streets, homes, and businesses underwater. Is this a sign of climate negligence or a wake-up call for urban planning in Africa's biggest city? We will unpack it. From there, we move to the heart of the nation's ambition. Nigeria has officially presented a bid for Abuja to host the 2030 Commonwealth Games. If successful, it will be the first time the game come to Africa. But the big question is, are we truly ready for it? And finally, a story that has both stirred faith and skepticism. South African pastor Joshua Makaleka's prediction of the rapture has come and gone, with no trumpet, no ascension, and certainly no apocalypse. We will talk about the dangers of spiritual sensationalism and why millions still cling to such promises. So stay with us. It is going to be sharp, it is going to be fresh, and it is going to be engaging. I'm your host, and this is the DDM TV Morning Show. Let's dive straight into our first big story. Lagos underwater. Heavy rain have once again flooded Lekki, leaving homes and streets submerged. The question is, how much longer can Lagos residents keep living like this? Joining in today's morning show are two regular faces, Ako Christian Oche, convener Due Process Integrity Vanguard, and Mr. Kevin Jakbo, social commentator and national administrator at COPDEM. Gentlemen, it's a pleasure to have you on this program.
Yes, thank you for having me. Good morning.
It's like Kevin Jakbo, you're welcome to DDM Morning Show.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right, let's get into it. Lagos, the commercial city of Nigeria, has once again been brought to its knees by heavy rainfall. The upscale neighborhood of Lekki was hit hardest, with streets and homes submerged, cars stranded, and residents struggling to navigate through rising waters. As climate change intensifies and questions about poor drainage and unplanned urban expansion persist, many are asking, is Lagos prepared for the storm of the future? So, Mr. Ako Christian Oche, I'll start with you. If Lekki, one of Lagos' most expensive neighborhoods, can be so easily submerged, what does that say about the vulnerability of poorer communities with fewer resources in Nigeria?
The challenge is that the urban planners over the years have not really been introspective. They've not anticipated such situation of flood ravaging the Lagos state as it is currently. And it's embarrassing that the huge revenue coming out from Lagos, internally generated revenue, have not been used to safeguard the city, because the number one item that should have taken the attention of the planners was to create the drainage, the required drainage. That's the first thing. Then each road should have its own drainage system and all that will channel the water into the canal. And they've not successfully done that. The attitude of the people is another one, where refuse are dumped on the rock water channel, on the drainages, blocking the movement of this water. And water is something that no one can stop. When you block water from moving, of course, water will find its way, and that is what is happening currently. Then thirdly, we have situation whereby people just go ahead to build on the water way. There are certain segments of Lagos that ordinarily there should be no building there. To have created a pathway for water body passing through, and this will have averted the flood. But due to the dense population of Lagos State, where virtually all segments of the country is highly represented, with huge industrial layouts and everywhere. The urge for white collar job have driven a lot of Nigerians through the rural urban drift in the migration, and this has affected the housing demand and the even the refuse dumped by these people have increased over the years, and this have a lot of negative consequences on the available amenities in Lagos State. So, as a way forward, there has to be an overhaul of the entire master plan of Lagos, creating the pathway for adequate drainage system. Honorable Gbadebo, the Labour Party gubernatorial candidate, is always have this conversation about how to rebuild Lagos State. You cannot shy away from that until Lagos State is redesigned to overcome this incessant flooding that takes place due to blockages in the drainages or lack of drainages. Until this is done, Lagos State cannot enjoy a rainy season without flood. Of course, Lagos sometimes technically have no season. Rain falls virtually throughout the entire year. So, for states that have this high level of rainfall, should be able to anticipate flood and be able to think on how to provide a very wide drainage system that will take care of this excess water that is currently ravaging the state.
Thank you very much, Mr. Due Process. That's insightful. And Mr. Kevin Japo, Mr. Akko Christian Oche talk about the role played by urban planners. He blamed the failure of leadership in urban planning,
Yeah.
drainage, and environmental management. But some people
I
still
think
believe that it has to do with nature because of the location of Lagos close to the Atlantic Ocean. What do you have to say on that?
yes, Lekki is surprisingly Lekki is a low lying terrain. Just it's like Lekki is the opposite of is almost the deep opposite of Plateau. Understand? Lekki is a low lying terrain, so whenever there is little rainfall or a little excessive rainfall, you see you notice that there's water gathering, and they don't have good drainage system for a place like Lekki. I don't know what the government is doing, and don't forget, we're having people around Lekki. I think the Atlantic is not too far from there. We're having people who are also in the Atlantic area who are developing properties. They try to refill their lands, and that's also going to cause problems too. So there's also an issue of rising sea levels. Don't forget that from what scientists see, I think about 5 or 10 years, the sea rises by about 2 centimeters, or 2 centimeters, a bit almost that of a feet. Okay, so if this continues in the future, but we're having some kind of submerging, let's say in the next 50 years plus. Okay, so I think the government needs to do something about it. Maybe they should begin to look for other areas they should explore, and they should stop this encroachment. If you watch the Eco-Atlantic area, watch some other areas, you see where they are refilling and reclaiming a land from the sea. When I watch a video of the Eco-Atlantic area, I watched the way they brought in some very heavy granite rocks and were reclaiming land from the sea, and the fact that Lekki is a low-lying area, you have the drainages or you have the lagoons or all those things around. People build houses to block all these places. So all these are going to contribute to flooding. in the area. There was even a time one of our beauty member, Mr. Daniel, I was there. And he just took a video of what happened in Lekki. There was serious flooding. I don't know what's going on, but I always have this feeling that that's the place that me personally I cannot stay. Okay, you have this kind of scenarios over there. You have it's a low level area. Sometimes you notice that the sea rises and it splashes into the areas causing flooding. There was a time flood got to people's houses. So I think the government needs to sit down and think of what to do about this. Okay, climate change is real. Okay, that's why when we hear people like what happened in the United Nations General Assembly, if you watch Donald Trump's speech, when he said climate change is a hoax. It's not a hoax. So if you're lucky and you know what's going on, you ask yourself, this house I've built in about 20 years time, 30 years time, what's going to happen? The Lagos state government is one of the most prolific self-funding government we have in the country. So they have a lot of funds. They should think of what to do about all these things. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kevin.
In addition to that, with the level of water body that is rising in Lagos, it should be an advantage for irrigation. Irrigation, the Lagos state government should enter into partnership with at least southwestern states that don't have a high level of rainfall and water body, such that they'll be able to channel this water across the states to power their irrigation needs, to be able to raise crops at least 4 times in a year. That's welcome development, and it will increase food sufficiency.
Thank you very much, Mr. Due Process. What I like about your analysis is you're not just highlighting the problem, but you also talk about solutions to the problems. That's a very nice insight. And Mr. Kevin Japo, you talk about climate change. I'm actually interested in that topic, climate change. And I think in Africa, that climate change advocacy have been in its very low stage in Africa generally. And climate change is real. For those who don't know what climate change is all about, is that most of the iceberg in Antarctica and in our oceans, all the four major oceans in the world, are melting due to the harmful radiation of the sun that is affecting planet Earth. And that's due to the failure of the ozone layer, which is the surface of the atmosphere that protect us from the harmful radiation of the sun. So the existential threats that we pose to this planet, we humans, is that we are towing that ozone layer, and now the sun is directly hitting planet Earth. And I don't know, because I'm not an expert, how we can mitigate that risk, because clearly it's due to the industrialization of the world and the wars that we have been carrying over and over again. It has been affecting the continent in a very, very negative way. And some experts projected that in the next 100 years, the ozone layer will fail completely. So what advice do you have to the government and actually to the people who have limited knowledge about the ozone layer and the climate change? What advice do you have?
I will advise the government, our advise the government itself, especially the government in Nigeria and these parts of the world, to take climate change more seriously, because it's a norm. What we notice about science is the fact that most of these governments don't seem to believe in this climate change stuff, including the present ones, the states. I think if I were the present government, I would even, number one, for instance, I'll build a lot of solar farms. For say renewable energy, that will not cause harm for the body. I will face a lot of things that are going to cause harmful substances in the air while generating power, for instance. But for things like this, like what we see in Lekki, while if scientists say, for instance, that every 10 years the sea level rise with about 2 meters or so, we should take it seriously. That means in 100 years, our children may not be in Lekki, or many people may not be there. That place may be a place where people will want to desert. Okay. Yes, there are some parts of the world where you had some islands that were submerged. Yes, it's true. Okay, so we should not take such things for granted. Natural disasters. So we should actually take it more seriously. That's what I actually advise the government to do. Talk to these scientists, talk to these people at the universities who do a lot of research. Let them prefer solutions on what can be done. If it's to regulate the houses. If it's to, that's what this is one of the reasons why when people build houses, you actually tell the government, you can't go and meet the government to get your clearance or CO4, whatever. They need to come and check if that would be detrimental to the environment, what are going to cause flooding. On this part of the world, whether any place you choose or not, by the time you get to the government offices, you just drop one or two amounts of money. You don't even come and check what here you got your land or anything. If even if it's blocking a drainage like you see in Lagos or blocking whatnot. Some people even build houses under power lines. You wonder where they get their approval from. They don't even get any approval. See, if we had better regulatory bodies who really regulate all these things, I'm sure all these things will be stopped. So I think government should actually take it more seriously and work with the researchers and allow the surveying offices, the offices where you give approvals for housing or for buildings to be strengthened. Okay, let's reduce this bureaucracy. I think that will help. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And definitely, I agree with you that the issue of climate change, the government should pay close attention to with keen interest because climate change affects us all. Mr. Due Process, you talk about irrigation, and it goes in tandem with the manifesto of the Labour Party presidential candidate, His Excellency Peter Obi, that we use what we have, utilize it positively towards the commonwealth of the nation. So you see, this is an ugly circumstance, and based on the points you raised, you tone that ugly circumstance to a very positive one. So, how much of a confidence do you have that our leaders will utilize this negative scenario and turn it to a positive one that will um, better the life and livelihood of the common man in the country?
Yes, the current crop of leaders that we have, I don't see them being realistic in terms of implementation. The other time, there was a conference on climate change, and you saw how they politicize it. The president was there with his entourage, and all of them are politicians. When they make claim, blah, 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 that they'll be supplying gas to Nigerian homes at affordable rates and to be able to phase out firewood. But in the end of it, where are we? The gas today, is it affordable for the ordinary man on the streets? The answer is no, of course. Ordinary 3 kg of gas costs nothing less than 23,000 naira. How can a layman on the street be able to use his money to buy that before refilling the gas periodically, or at least monthly or weekly, as the case may be? So the government is not sincere. When events like this of climate change are organized, they go there and tell a lot of lies to those who are bringing in these funds to make a positive impact in the world. I remember Niger State Governor was there too. He pledges that he's going to plant trees across the states. And there was a huge release in that regard, over $2 million. As of today, that program has been left on its own. We have people bringing down trees across the states. The forest guards are not there. The guard against it, and they are being paid salaries. But in terms of preventing this ceaseless fall of trees across the forest has not been challenged. There are even economic trees that will add value to the economy, right? Whichever type of food today we have, or different economic trees, we can as well plant it, not just in the forest, but even in our locality. And it will serve multiple purposes, serve the economic aspect, and it will prevent further decay of the ozone layer. All these remedies are already out on the table. It's just for political will of the leaders to implement. They are not ready. The day they are ready, there will be drastic change. I don't believe Nigeria cannot be able to do whatever it is that Nigeria as a country want to do if we have the right crop of leaders that believe in accountability, transparency, and be able to be objective and be realistic to themselves and the people they are leading.
That's great. Leadership is what we lack in Africa. And the question remains, how many more rainy seasons will Lagos endure before we start treating climate adaptation as a national emergency rather than
Okay,
a season?
take for instance, Niger State has three dams. Recently, there was a flood in Mokwa. Ordinarily, if this water body had been channeled across the state for irrigation, you can imagine the output in terms of food production instead of waiting for rainy season before you can plant. You have farmers there that will utilize it. What has the state government done in terms of ensuring that this comes to reality? No, but they wait and the water will accumulate and there will be flood at the end of the day. Community will be washed away. So they are not people that think about solution. If the state government is interested in really funding agriculture, they have no need running to Abuja to demand for monthly subvention from the federal government.
Thank you very much, Mr. Due Process, once again.
Yes, thank you. It's a
So,
pleasure.
my brothers and sisters, what happened in Lekki is more than rain. It is a metaphor of our governance failure. We live in cities built for show, not for survival. How can a nation blessed with some of the finest engineers and urban planners in Africa continue to drown at the first sight of heavy clouds? The float waters in Lekki do not discriminate between the rich and the poor. They expose a system where greed has replaced foresight and where real estate developers dance with government officials to build on wetlands. Until we treat climate change as urgent as corruption, we will continue to watch our cities sink while the elite escape in SUVs and the ordinary man wades through wet, deep waters. Africa cannot continue to manage disasters. We must begin to prevent it. Floods in Lekki remind us that climate change is not theory, it is reality, and it is happening right at our doorstep. The bigger question is, are we planning for tomorrow or simply reacting today? We will leave that for you to ponder. And that wrap up today's conversation. From flooded streets in Lekki to Nigeria's sporting dream to a failed prophecy that had turned wagging. Thank you for starting our morning with us. Same time, same place tomorrow, 9 a.m. Nigerian time, only on DDM Morning Show. Until then, stay safe, stay hopeful, and stay informed. Once again, thank you very much, Mr. Kevin Jackbo, for joining us, and Mr. Ako Christian Oche.
Thank you.
So, to our listeners, don't forget to like this video, hit that notification bell to get alerted when we drop a new content. Join us tomorrow, same place, same time. Bye.